Yeah, so I've had so many questions. So I decided to make a video about dating after I got out of prison. Oof, it has been a roller coaster. So first I'm gonna give y'all some back history. So I used to always hear people talk about females having daddy issues. Like if you grew up without a father or if you grew up in a house with a horrible father, that it affects the way that you date, the way that you see men, and the stuff that you allow and don't allow in your life. And my father was married, not to my mama. He was married to another woman, and he had 5 kids on her. I was one of the 5. So needless to say, he was not around a lot. So I never had a positive relationship with my father. I've never had a relationship with him at all. And I can't say with my brothers, with my cousins, with any uncles, I've never had a positive image to look up to. So when you haven't had that, you don't have it to compare to something else. So you can't really think in your mind like, this is what I had, so this is what I want, this is what I don't want. So I didn't really have an example. And it took me going to prison and doing a lot of self-reflecting to realize that all of that does a play in making decisions and what you choose, what you do or what you don't want. It's influences. And regardless if you want to give them credit, there are things that influence you in the decisions you made, what you feel like are okay. It's things that influence you to make your judgment calls on your morals, what you set boundaries on, what you don't set boundaries on. So the only relationship I've been in as an adult, I'm 31 years old. I just turned 31 on the 18th. But the only relationship I've been in with a man as an adult is the one that led me to prison. So with that being said, when I first got out, it was weird. Like I hadn't been with a man, around a man in over a decade. So it was very weird to me. And the last man that I was with made me not want to look at any of y'all. So trust issues was real bad. So I remember when I first got out, weird. So me and my friend, we went to the mall. She had to get a necklace repaired. So we walking in the mall. You know how they got like the little strip right there in front of the mall where you can drop somebody off and then you go and park. So we walking in the mall and it's like this car full of men and they're like, hey, hey, hey. And we like, I smiled and I kept going. And we're walking in the mall and literally they parked the car right there and took off running in the mall behind us. And I'm not talking about walking fast. I mean, they ran in the mall. So this really tall, light-skinned boy, he comes up behind me and he like bear hugs me and spins me around. And it was so weird because I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, I don't know you like that. Why are you grabbing me? And he like spin me around and my friend's like, she's going off because she's a little feisty when she's short and she's feisty. So she's like, put her down and why are you touching her and all this stuff like that. So the man's like, just cool. Like, I just think she's beautiful. So I'm so stunned, I can't even really respond. So I'm one of those people that when I get nervous, I'll laugh or I'll smile. Like, I was very nervous. So she was like doing all the talking. So then he was like, what's your name? And it was very awkward for me. And I was like, I told him my name. And he was like, oh, do you have Instagram? Oh, what? Like, that was the first time somebody's ever tried to talk to me since I had been home. So when he asked me for my Instagram, it threw me off. My Instagram. And I'm like, I don't have an Instagram. Instagram became popping while I was gone. There was no Instagram before I left. So I'm like, I don't have an Instagram. He's like, oh, what about your Snapchat? Sir, I don't even know how to use Snapchat. So I did not end up giving him my social media or my phone number. I never seen him again, thank God. But when I got out, it was like, I was really not into the whole dating thing. And I've been home about 27 months and I have not been in a relationship since I've been home. It's just, I come up with every excuse when someone tries to talk to me. And I've gotten to the point I do give out my number now. I do. And then I don't respond. And it's not because it's not because I mean to be that way. It's just, I have very bad trust issues. I do not trust you as far as I can throw you. And like I used to always tell men when they'd be like, oh, can I talk to you? What's your number? And I used to be like, oh, I have a boyfriend. This imaginary man that I've been with for 2 years. because that's always my excuse. And then a lot of them would be like, I respect that. I hope he treats you right and all that. And I used to be like, oh, that's so sweet. And then I have other ones that'll be like, oh, you need a friend? You want a friend? I'm trying to have trust in y'all, but you killing it, because you telling me that if I had a man, you would still want to be my friend. Like, that lets me know relationships don't mean anything to you. And the world has changed so much since I've been home. It's like everybody's life seems glammed up, and I can't and won't compete. I will not jump through hoops to make you believe that I'm worth your time. I will not jump through hoops to make you believe that I'm worth you being faithful to, or I'm worth you providing, or I'm worth you wanting to start a family. Like, I'm not the type to feel, I don't feel like I have to prove myself, because I know what I bring. You know what I'm saying? I know that my relationship, the next relationship I get in, I want it to be relationship to marry. I don't want to go from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship. And as of right now, the people who have pursued me, they have just not, I don't feel like we're compatible. And I've had a lot of time to self-reflect, so I know what I want, I know how I want to be talked to, and I know how I want to feel. So if you don't talk to me the way that I want to be talked to, we're not taking this no farther. If you don't treat me the way that I want to be treated, we're not taking this no farther. And if you make me feel a way that I don't want to feel, we're not taking this any farther. And it's mutual. If I'm entertaining something and I feel like I'm not bringing anything to you, or I'm not giving you what you deserve, I'm going to cut it off. I've talked to 2 dudes since I've been home. The first one, I took it further than I probably should have. And he was a good dude. He was just, I realized in the beginning that his feelings was progressing a lot faster than mine. And I'm one of those people, it's like a slow burn for me. It takes me a long time to fall in love, but once I fall in love, I will go give you the moon. But it takes me a long time to get there. And his feelings was progressing too fast. So I had to slow him down so many times and tell him, like, hey, I'm not really interested in a relationship right now. I don't know exactly what I want. So I just want to put that out there so that you know, at any point in time, if I decide this does not work for me, that this is not serving me, or if it's not serving you, that I will hit the exit. And he always was like, I understand. And he knew my entire situation. Like, he was very accepting of that. He didn't judge me. And when I used to have my times where, because I had PTSD real bad when I first got out, he was very understanding, and he was a nice guy. It's just there were certain things that didn't match up for me, like saving. He could not save to save his life. That's a problem for me. I don't expect for you to make $1 million. I don't make $1 million. I really don't care what you make. If I feel for you, or if I feel a connection, then what you make is irrelevant. But if you make $1 and you don't know how to budget $1, that's a problem. Because why would you want to work 40 hours a week just to get paid, just to give it all away? Like, I can't Wayne with it. He couldn't save, and I used to always try to like help him, give him like ideas on how to save, like, small things. And he's not good with money at all. That's unattractive to me. If you don't know how to manage your finances, like, that's unattractive. And then on top of that, he had the spirit of offense. Now, a lot of people have the spirit of offense and they don't know it. I used to have it, where I used to take things personal. Like, if somebody was having a bad day and they snapped on me, I took it personal. Or if you treated me some type of way, or if you was just a nasty person in general, or if you had an attitude, I used to take it some type of way, and like, I don't know who they think they talking to. I don't know why she coming in here with that bad vibe. I used to have the spirit of offense. Or if you tried to tell me something, like give me constructive criticism, I didn't want to hear it. So he has that very bad. Every time something happens, he takes it personal. Like, he'll tell me a story about, oh, this person tried me, and I'll be listening to it. And then I'll have to ask questions like, well, how did he say it? Like, what happened? And he would get offended. And I used to always try to tell him, when a person shows you who they are, you have to allow them to be them. They're not going to be or talk to you or treat you the way you want to be treated, because they're being them. It's up to you what boundary you set. Like, it's not about you, because if a person is disrespectful, they're going to disrespect. It has nothing to do with if it's you, if it's me, if it's him, Pam, or Sam. You have to allow people to be themselves, and you have to stop being so offended and understand that's just the way that it is. And used to have to go over this 1,000 times, and he never understood. He always felt like people were targeting him or people were treating him some type of way. And it's like, yeah, there are valid situations where people will treat just you a certain type of way, but those situations are few in between. That's just how they are most of the time. And I did not have enough energy. I was just coming home. I did not have enough energy to keep pouring into him. And it's like, I'll pour into a person, I will wholeheartedly pour the whole cup. But if the cup has a hole in the bottom, what I'm pouring for? Why would I keep pouring if there's a hole in the bottom? But it took me going to prison to understand how to set those boundaries, how to understand when I'm pouring into something and there's no fruit coming from it, or when I'm pouring into a bottomless pit. I cannot pour into a bottomless pit. I wouldn't expect you to do it, so I'm not going to do it. So I no longer entertain him. And then there was another guy that I was talking to, and he made it seem like, oh, we're going to get married. I want you to be my wife. And that's my lingo, because I want to date to marry. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So he was like, oh, I already got a ring and everything. And I was like, let me see the ring. So he showed me the ring, and I was like, okay. I said, at any point in time, if we do decide to get married, I was like, I don't want that ring. And he was like, why? I was like, if you already have a ring, sir. Like I said, is it your mom's or your grandma's? And he was like, no, exactly. So that means you already had that ring for somebody else. Either they didn't want it or you decided you didn't want to give it to them. But you did not buy that ring with me in mind. So I was like, make sure that's not the ring that you proposed with. So he was like laughing and stuff. And I'm like, I'm so serious. And he would always talk about, like us getting married and all this other stuff like that. And he'd be like, oh, when you going to pick out your colors and who you going to have in the wedding and where would you like it to be at? And it was like, and I told him, I was like, I'm not going to start mentally preparing myself to make wedding preparations until we are there. Like, I'm not finna just start planning a wedding because you said you want to get married one day. And he would always talk about us being serious. Mind you, we were dating, we were not in a relationship. And he would always talk about us being serious, but your actions didn't line up. Your actions didn't line up. Like, you'd be like, oh, I'm about to do whatever it is. I'm going to call you when I get to the house. Okay. The phone call don't come until the next morning. You're like, good morning. And it's like, good morning. And that's fine. I don't like talking on the phone like that. So I don't expect for you to call me 24/7. But what I do expect for what you tell me to match up with what you're showing me. You're not acting like we're getting married. You're acting like we're dating, which that's what we're doing. So it's okay for us to be like that because we're dating. And he was just giving me mixed signals. Like, he was saying one thing, but you was doing another. And it's like I told him, I was like, I'm perfectly fine with just dating you. But don't tell me that we're getting married or you want to get married and you're acting like you can call when you want to. You can hang out and do whatever it is that you want to. Like, you can tell me one thing and do another. Like, I would go long periods of time without hearing from him. And I'm not codependent, so that's fine with me. But I'm going to always make a note. You're not acting like a man that I would expect to marry me. You're not acting like it. So I ended up cutting that off. I called him out on it. And he was like, you know what? I understand what you're saying. And I was like, it's cool. I was like, we can still be friends. I was like, but we just need to leave this where it's at. I said, because the whole marriage thing, I was like, I don't see that for us. And I was like, clearly that's what you want in your life. So I was like, we should end this and you should find somebody that has mutual understanding. And those are the only two people I've talked to. The guy who wanted to get married, I think I ended that. It was months and months ago. And since then, I have not entertained anyone else. Dating it's hard to find somebody who is mutual and has the same understanding. And I have no problem being single. I have no problem being by myself because I know what I want and I know what I'm not going to tolerate. And it takes you setting boundaries. And because I did so long in prison and because I did a lot of self-reflecting, like I said before, I know exactly what it is I want. I know exactly what I want to feel. And as far as what I look for in a man, it's not about your status. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about how you look. That does not matter to me. Now, of course, I would like a man with status. I would like a man to look good, and I would like a man to make a lot of money. But those are not my priorities. That is not the first three things I check off when I say I'm going to entertain this person. Those are not the first boxes. Now, if you have those boxes, it definitely makes everything a lot better. But those are not a requirement. Not all women want to marry somebody who's rich and famous and has all the money in the world. You could work at McDonald's as long as you have ambition and you got stuff that you want to get done in life. I'm good with it. But don't be working, making $1 million a year and you treat me like you could replace me, because I'm going to have a problem with that. But that is where I'm at as far as dating. I am currently single. Hopefully it won't be forever, but if it is, I'm okay with that. I've already grieved the fact that I will not settle. I don't expect for no one to settle for me, and I'm not going to settle for them. Y'all have a great Sunday.